This is GriffDAWG here, and I am here finally to present to you Dale Earnhardt Part 6. Now I thought long about how I'm going to present this next part to you guys. I thought a good while about this. So this is what I am going to present to you. I am going to explain and present every major driver, team, and sponsor change that has happened from 2006 through 2010. What I will also do is I'm going to show brief highlights of each of the Daytona 500s. I thought might as well. It's an important event. It's a big event. Might as well show you guys what happened in each of those races. However, I am going to make no mentions whatsoever of who won so many races and who won the championship of each of the years. The reason why is because as my channel progresses, I'm going to be making little side races on when Dale Earnhardt was still alive, and each of those will then build to show the full future for what I think would happen if Dale Earnhardt was still alive. So until then, here's what will happen in 2006. So to start things off, 3 things that you should know is, first of all, of course, Dale Earnhardt is retired. Dale Earnhardt is done with racing, and now he takes up full-time ownership duties at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. He has 4 cars in his stable this year, and we will explain who each of those drivers are when we talk about the starting lineup. The second thing, it was mentioned briefly in the 5th part, but Jeff Burton replaces Dale Earnhardt in the number 3 car. Jeff Burton picks up a new sponsor, and we will talk about that as well in the starting lineup. The last thing of note is there are 8 rookies in the Daytona 500. There are quite a few rookies that will compete throughout the season, but there is for sure 8 of them in the Daytona 500. So that is all you need to know at the beginning. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the 2006 Daytona 500. On the pole is Ryan Newman in the Attel 12 Dodge. Ryan Newman switches numbers from the 02 to 12 this year. And alongside him is Denny Hamlin in the FedEx Express Chevrolet. Denny is one of the 8 Rookie of the Year contenders. Dale Jarrett is going to start in 3rd, and alongside him is Matt Kenseth in the DeWalt Ford. Michael Waltrip has a new sponsor this year. Kraft moves over from the 1 car over to the 15 Chevrolet. Alongside him is another rookie contender, Carl Edwards. Remember, he did another year in the Busch Series in 2005 before making his full-time jump to the Cup Series. That's the reason why he drove the 60 car in 2005. Starting 7th is Scott Riggs in the Nesquik Ford. Nesquik is now the full-time sponsor for Scott Riggs. Pfizer and Viagra have left NASCAR. Alongside him is Elliott Sadler in the M&M's Ford. Brian Vickers will start 9th. Alongside him is Casey Kane. Starting 11th is Kevin Harvick in the number 30 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. GM Goodwrench moves over to Kevin Harvick after Dale Earnhardt. Alongside him is Ken Schrader, who moves over to the 21 ride from the 49 car. Lil Debbie is the sponsor. Here is the car we talked about earlier. Jeff Burton in the number 3 Reese's Peanut Butter Cup Chevrolet. Jeff Burton replaces Dale Earnhardt as the full-time driver, and he picks up Reese's as the full-time sponsor. To the outside is the self-owner driver, Robbie Gordon. Kyle Busch starts 15th, and alongside him is Tony Stewart. Jamie McMurray moves over from the 42 Texaco ride to the new number 26 Irwin Tools Ford. And to the outside of him is Jimmy Johnson. Starting 19th is Travis Quaffle. Travis Quaffle moves over from the 77 car to the number 32 Tide Chevrolet. And alongside him is Tony Raines in the Hall of Fame Racing Chevrolet. David Stremme, another Rookie of the Year contender, and Casey Mears moves over from the 41 to the 42 ride for Chip Ganassi Racing. Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 Dodge, and Joe Nemechek. That whole team, Valvoline, Joe Nemechek in the 10 car, moves over as the 3rd team for Everham Motorsports. Kurt Busch starts 25th. Kurt Busch moves over and replaces the now retired Rusty Wallace in the Miller Lite Dodge. Alongside him is Jeff Gordon in the DuPont Chevrolet. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a new look starts 27th, and alongside him J.J. Yeley, who is another Rookie of the Year contender. Bobby Labonte got kicked out of the 18 ride in favor of J.J. Yeley, and now he drives the famous number 43 Cheerios Dodge, and Dave Blaney, who replaces Scott Wimmer in number 22 Caterpillar Dodge. Jerry Nadeau starts 31st in the U.S. Army Chevrolet. Starting 32nd is Clint Bowyer. Clint Bowyer replaces Dave Blaney in the number 31 Singular Chevrolet. Clint Bowyer is also another Rookie of the Year contender. Starting 33rd is a fourth car for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. In the number 14 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet is Sterling Marlin. Marlin moves out of the Coors Light Dodge to move to this new ride. Kevin LePage is in a special one-off race as he drives for owner Jeff Stack. I do apologize if I said that incorrectly. Starting 35th is Greg Biffle, and the outside of him is Jeff Green. Jeff Green moves over from the 43 ride to drive the new number 66 Best Buy Chevrolet for Haas Racing. Brent Sherman, another rookie in the number 49 car. Alongside him is Chad Chaffin in number 34. Chad Chaffin is the newest driver for Front Row Motorsports. Martin Truex Jr. is another rookie in the number 1 Bass Pro Shops Chevrolet. And Kyle Petty in the 45. Wells Fargo is now the new sponsor for Kyle Petty in the 2006 season. As we get to the rear of the field, Bill Elliott starts 41st. Bill Elliott is driving a special one-off race for MB2 Motorsports. And Reed Sorensen is another Rookie of the Year contender. That should be 8 rookies. And starting 43rd is Ward Burton, the 2004 Daytona 500 champion. We start the race with Ryan Newman on pole, Denny Hamlin to the outside, Dale Jarrett, Matt Kenseth, and Michael Waltrip down into turn number 1. This race had a lot of leaders as Bobby Labonte takes the lead. Kyle Petty moves in and replaces Sterling Marlin as the leader down the back straightaway. One of many different leaders in this race. First round of pit stops happen as numerous cars come down pit road, splitting off from the pack and doing their pit work. The first caution does not come out until lap 92. The first caution comes out for this wreck as Brent Sherman is slow through turn number 3. Brent Sherman moves down to try getting onto the apron, but Chad Chaffin had nowhere to go and they crash into turn number 3. Brent Sherman was done for the day. As cars were being slowed down, Kyle Busch slams into the back of another car and he has lots of hood damage. Kyle Busch would keep going, but not his hood. On the restart, Robbie Gordon leads him down into turn number 1. Robbie Gordon was one of numerous different leaders in this race. Robbie had a powerful car today. The last cycle of pit stops happen as numerous cars come down pit road and do their service. Caution comes out again as more debris is on the track as Dale Jarrett loses his hood somewhere down the back straightaway. There he is without a hood. On the restart, it is rookie Martin Truex Jr. Could a rookie win the Daytona 500? Jeff Green could also pull an upset in the 66 car, moving to the inside of Ken Schrader for second. And just like that, he moves right into the lead, passing Martin Truex down the inside of turn number 3. But can he lead all the way to the finish? Jeremy Mayfield makes the bold move underneath Jeff Green on to turn number 1 as he has help from Brian Vickers and rookie Reed Sorensen through turn 1 and 2. Vickers gives Mayfield the assistance he needed to take the lead away from Jeff Green. On the final lap, Brian Vickers tries applying some pressure to Jeremy Mayfield, but it does not happen. Jeremy Mayfield will come off of turn number 4 and he would win here at the Daytona 500 here in 2006. Jeremy Mayfield will be the winner, Brian Vickers second, Jeff Green third, and then Reed Sorensen in 4th, and Martin Truex in 5th. Here are 3 things to know about 2007. Toyota makes their entrance into the NASCAR Next Up Cup Series with several different teams. One of those teams being Michael Waltrip. Michael Waltrip leaves DEI to form his own team, and he brings 3 cars with him. We will introduce each of those cars in the starting lineup. And there's been rumor and speculation that a brand new car body style is going to come into NASCAR. It's in talking stages right now, but we'll see if a new car will happen in the next year. Once the cars roll off, we will tell you the starting lineup here for the 2007 Daytona 500. Starting on the pole is Jeff Gordon, and to the outside of him is Clint Bowyer in the 31 Singular Chevrolet. Starting third is Sterling Marlin in the 14 Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet, and Matt Kenseth in the DeWalt Tools Ford. Starting fifth is the 48 car Jimmy Johnson, and J.J. Gailey in the Interstate Batteries Chevrolet. Starting 7th is Kyle Petty in the 45 car, and to the outside is the top Toyota, Dave Blaney in the 22 Caterpillar Toyota. Kevin Harvick will roll off 9th in the new Shell Pennzoil number 30 Chevrolet, and to the outside of him is Denny Hamlin in the FedEx Chevrolet. Carl Edwards will start in 11th, and to the outside is Michael Waltrip in the new number 55 Best Western Aaron's Toyota. Michael is one of 3 cars he brings to Daytona and to start off the new 2007 season. David Stremme will roll off 13th, and Casey Kane will start 14th. Ken Schrader returns to the 21 Little Debbie Ford in 15th, and Ryan Newman will start in 16th. Juan Pablo Montoya moves over from Formula 1 to give his shot at NASCAR, and to the outside of him is Dale Jr. starting 18th. Kurt Busch will start 19th, and David Rudiman, the second car from Michael Waltrip, will start 20th. David Rudiman is competing for Rookie of the Year. Casey Mears moves over from Chip Ganassi Racing to the 4th car at Hendrick Motorsports. Vickers moves over to a Toyota, while Casey Mears takes over and with new sponsorship from National Guard. And to the outside of him is Jeremy Mayfield in the 88. There were rumors of Ricky Rudd returning to NASCAR and driving the 88 car, but Jeremy Mayfield was out of a ride and they want to give him a shot in the new number 88 Snickers Ford. Ward Burton gets full-time sponsorship from State Water Heaters as he will start 23rd, and Tony Raines will start 24th. Jeff Green, with an impressive run last year in the 2006 Daytona 500, will start 25th, and to the outside of him is Reed Sorensen in the Target Dodge. Jamie McMurray in the 26 new Crown Royal Ford, and Greg Biffle in the new AmeriQuest Ford. David Reagan, another rookie, is driving a second Bill Davis car in the new number 36 360 OTC Toyota. To the outside of him is Martin Truex in the 1 Bass Pro Shops Chevrolet. Brian Vickers will start 31st. Brian is moved over to the new Red Bull Racing Toyota, and he does have a teammate in the form of AJ Allmendinger in the number 84 Red Bull Toyota. Unfortunately, he failed to qualify for this race. And David Gilliland will start in 32nd. David is another Rookie of the Year contender. Joe Nemechek will start 33rd, and Paul Menard will start 34th. Paul replaces Michael Waltrip in the number 15 ride, and Paul is another Rookie of the Year contender. Jeff Burton returns to the number 3 Reese's Chevrolet, will start 35th, and Juri Naidu returns to the 01 U.S. Army Chevrolet in 36th. Kyle Busch will be in 37th, and alongside him is Bob Labonte returns in the number 43 Cheerios Dodge. Elliott Sadler replaces Mayfield in the number 19 Dodge, and Scott Riggs in the number 6 Ford. Rounding out the rear is Dale Jarrett in the new 44 UPS Toyota, the 3rd car for Michael Waltrip Racing, alongside Tony Stewart in the 20 Home Depot Chevrolet. Rounding out the rear is Kevin LePage in the 49 car. He replaces Brent Sherman. At the start of this one, Jeff Gordon leads him down to turn number 1 with Clint Bowyer, Sterling Marlin, and Matt Kenseth right behind him. Dale Jr. moves up to the high side, but no one wants to go with him. Very early, everyone is so close together as there is 4 wide down to turn number 4 down the front straightaway. And everyone knows when there's 4 wide, not good stuff happens. David Gilliland moves to the inside to avoid the trouble, but David Gilliland almost loses it in the grass, but he saves it. Unfortunately, when he comes up the track, this happens. Several cars get in the wall, including Michael Waltrip, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Gordon, the pole center involved, and Jeff Green all get involved. On the restart, it's Kevin Harvick in the lead with Kyle Busch behind him. A small pack forms as defending Daytona 500 champion Jeremy Mayfield leads him through the front straightaway. First round of green flag pit stops happen as everyone comes down to get 4 tires and fresh fuel. Bunch of small packs happen as pit stops have spread out the field, with Clint Bowyer leading the pack. The second caution doesn't come out until lap 105 of this race. Caution was for debris. On the restart, Kurt Busch is the leader, followed by David Stremme, Brandon Vickers, David Reagan, and Kasey Kahne. Joe Nemechek is a lap down, but besides him, the top 5 were able to spread out and pull away from the rest of the field so that they could fight out for themselves. In the big second pack, the big crash happens off turn number 4 as Elliott Sadler gets in the wall. Clint Bowyer tries going down pit road, but he gets involved in the crash, and watch David Rudiman in the double zero. Up and over he goes, barrel rolling several times, and he comes up on all 4s. David Rudiman is okay after the crash. Pit stops happen as Kurt Busch leads him down, and Kurt Busch will lead him off pit road. Several cars stayed off of pit road, including Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart, and Clint Bowyer, and Jeremy Mayfield. Everyone else pitted. Kurt Busch is pretty much the dominant car through the second half of the race, but his dominance gets abrupted by Scott Riggs in the 6th, and because of that, Kasey Kahne gets an opportunity and dives to the inside of Kurt Busch and takes the lead away from Kurt Busch. David Stremme makes a dive to the inside of Kasey Kahne, and a couple of Dodge cars battle it out for the lead. They did have a fierce side-by-side battle, but David Stremme will end up taking the lead. There's a bit of fright as David Stremme gets caught up in lap traffic. David Reagan, Dave Blaney, Kasey Kahne, and Ryan Newman are all lead lap cars that could have passed David Stremme, but it won't be enough. David Stremme comes off at turn number 4, and he will get his first career win at the Daytona 500. David Stremme, in his second Daytona 500 start, will get the win for Chip Ganassi Racing. This is one of the biggest upsets in NASCAR history. Here are 3 things to know about 2008. First of all, this is the 50th Daytona 500. Lots of famous drivers, lots of famous people have made it out to this special outing. And so the question will be, who will win on this special day? The second thing, we have a brand new car in NASCAR. It has a wing, it has a splitter, it has a bunch of different features on the car. And because of that, the third thing to keep in mind, Dale Earnhardt is not a fan of this car whatsoever. He has told many reporters that he is absolutely against this new car, and he absolutely dislikes the idea of cars having wings instead of spoilers. NASCAR decides to went ahead with it, and we're about to find out how this new car will have an impact on the competition in 2008. As the cars roll on by, we will tell you the starting lineup for the 50th running of the Daytona 500. Starting on pole for the 50th running of the Daytona 500 is Denny Hamlin in a new FedEx Toyota. Joe Gibbs moves over from Chevy to Toyota. And to the outside is Paul Menard with an excellent qualifying run. Sterling Marlin will start third. Sterling Marlin is calling this year his final year in Sprint Cup. And to the outside of him is David Strimme in the 40 Dodge. I just want to make a side note that this year it is not Nextel anymore, it is Sprint. The company has changed names. It is now the Sprint Cup Series instead of the Nextel Cup Series. Starting fifth is Kurt Busch in the number 2 Miller Lite Dodge. And the outside of him is Robbie Gordon. Robbie switches from Ford to Dodge in 2008. Starting 7th is Jeremy Mayfield. Jeremy Mayfield is able to pick up sponsorship in the form of Kellogg's in 2008. Kellogg's will be the full-time sponsor on the number 88 Robert Yates Racing Ford. And to the outside of him is Brian Vickers in the Red Bull Racing Toyota. Bob Labonte will start 9th in the Cheerios Dodge. And starting 10th is David Reagan in the State Water Heaters Chevrolet. David, who had an impressive run last year, is looking for redemption this year. Kyle Busch will start 11th. Kyle replaces JJ Yeley in the number 18 car, bringing M&M's with as new sponsorship this year. And as I've mentioned before, Joe Gibbs Racing has switched over to Toyota. To the outside of Kyle is Clint Boyer in the AT&T Chevrolet. Starting 13th is David Rudiman. Rudiman has Aaron's now as the full-time sponsor. And AJ Allmendinger will start 14th. This is AJ's first attempt at the Daytona 500. Scott Riggs has new sponsorship in 2008. AAA comes on and replaces Nesquik as the full-time sponsor. Nesquik is still a part-time sponsor but will not sponsor every race. And to the outside is Sam Hornish Jr. Sam Hornish follows Juan Montoya and AJ Allmendinger's route. He used to run Indy cars, but now he's doing full-time in the Sprint Cup Series driving for Roger Penske. Jeff Burton in the number 3 Reese's car will start 17th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet will start 18th. Jimmy Johnson will start 19th, and Ryan Newman in the Altel Dodge will start 20th. Matt Kenseth will start 21st, and the outside of him is JJ Yeley in the 96. JJ Yeley replaces Tony Raines. David Gilliland will start 23rd. FreeCreditReport.com replaces M&M's as the primary sponsor. And Tony Stewart will start 24th in the Home Depot Toyota. Reed Sorensen will start 25th. And to the outside is Casey Kane. Casey Kane picks up sponsorship in the form of McDonald's for the full entire season. Michael Waltrip will start 27th in the Best Western Toyota. And Elliott Sadler will start 28th. Best Buy will serve as the full-time sponsor for Elliott Sadler. Kevin Harvick will drive the 30 Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet and will start 29th. And Casey Mears signs an extension with National Guard and Hendrick Motorsports in 2008 to continue driving the National Guard Chevrolet. Here's a new one. Jerry Nadeau moves over from the 01 U.S. Army Chevrolet to drive the new Amp Energy number 5 Chevrolet. What happened was MBT Motorsports collapsed and everything that was left of the team pretty much fell. And so because of that, Jerry Nadeau was out of a ride. And fortunately, since Kyle Busch moved over to Joe Gibbs Racing, there was a ride open. So Jerry Nadeau applied for the ride and he got it. Amp Energy and Mountain Dew will serve as the full-time sponsor for Jerry Nadeau in 2008. To the outside of him is Dave Blaney in the 22 Caterpillar Toyota. Patrick Carpentier will start 33rd. Patrick replaces Joe Nemechek in the 10 Valvoline Dodge. It'll be interesting to see how he will fare in these stock cars. To the outside of him is Martin Truex in the 1 Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet. Carl Edwards will start 35th. Alongside him is Greg Biffle. Biffle has new sponsorship from 3M. Dale Jarrett is going to start 37th, and this is Dale Jarrett's final year in NASCAR before he calls retirement. And to the outside of him is Jeff Gordon, who starts 38th. Starting 39th is Jamie McMurray in the Crown Royal Ford, and Kyle Petty will start 40th. This is also going to be Kyle Petty's last season before he calls retirement. Juan Pablo Montoya is going to start 41st. Alongside him is Mike Bliss in the 09. Mike Bliss is going to be one of many drivers driving that 09 Mikazuki Chevrolet. And rounding out the field is Joe Nemechek in the Furniture Row Chevrolet. He moves over from the 10 car, and we expect to see that team to try to run every single race. The start is clean as Denny Hamlin leads Paul Menard into turn number 1. Sterling Marlin, David Strimme, and Kurt Busch follow in the top 5. But as you can see, there's already 3 wide. And 3 wide it shall be. As cars are all together in one pack, you can tell they're just asking for trouble. On the 9th lap, trouble ensued. 4 wide in turn number 4 brings Bobby Labonte together with Clint Boyer, and several cars going around, including Brian Vickers, Dale Earnhardt Jr., David Gilliland, Sam Hornish, Reed Sorensen, and more. Early pit stops happen as lots of cars take advantage of fresh tires and fuel, and they all get out clean. On the restart, it is Kyle Busch in the new 18 M&M's Toyota with Kevin Harvick in 2nd, Mike Bliss 3rd, Tony Stewart 4th, and Scott Riggs in 5th. The next caution does not come out until lap 115. The caution was for debris. Pit road was open again, and it was full of takers. First car out this time was Kurt Busch in the 2 car. Remember, Kurt had a dominant car last year. Can he capitalize in the Blue Deuce this year? On the restart, he leads with Paul Menard in 2nd, Jeff Burton in 3rd, David Reagan is back in 4th, and Jimmy Johnson in 5th. Caution comes out again as the double of David Reutimann gets turned by Kyle Petty in turn number 4, and his back of the car gets into the inside wall, and that takes himself out of competition. On the restart, it's his teammates, Michael Waltrip and Dale Jarrett restarting 1-2. Carl Edwards and David Gilliland are on the inside from damage repairs. But it didn't take long as the Blue Deuce goes down the back straightaway to take the lead, but Jeremy Mayfield, the 2006 champion, was battling it out with him. Final green flag stops happen as Kyle Busch and numerous other drivers take advantage of fresh tires and fuel once more. Caution comes out for debris once again. On the restart, it is David Reagan this time in the 66, followed by the Blue Deuce of Kurt Busch and Casey Mears in 3rd. Big trouble happens this time as Joe Nemechek gets turned by Dale Jarrett and he takes out several cars. Sam Hornish gets in the air, Denny Hamlin flips, but then watch in the back of the pack. Sterling Marlin gets turned and JJ Yeley goes upside down. After an extensive cleanup, restart happens again as Tony Stewart is the leader. Tony Stewart has never won the Daytona 500 before. On the final lap, David Reagan could upset and win the Daytona 500, but problems ensued. Lap down traffic in the form of Casey Keene blocks David Reagan's path, and that opens the door up for the 3 car of Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton dives to the inside, and Jeff Gordon eventually follows suit, and they would pass by and they would battle for the win at the Daytona 500. David Reagan eventually falls almost outside the top 10 as a bunch of different cars move into the top 5. Jeff Gordon did have a chance to get by Jeff Burton, but it would not be enough as Jeff Burton wins the 50th running of the Daytona 500. The 3 car returns again to victory lane at Daytona, and Jeff Gordon follows behind in 2nd. Here are 3 things to know about 2009. First of all, weather is a factor. There is a storm system moving in, and so there is a chance that this whole race may not be completed. So that is something to keep in mind. The second thing to keep in mind is Tony Stewart has a brand new team. Tony Stewart formed a partnership with Haas Automation, and now he runs a 2-car team with himself and another driver as a teammate. And then the final thing to keep in mind, both Robert Yates Racing and Chip Ganassi Racing are both still a factor. In real life, both of those teams merged with other teams and they eventually dwindled away. I mean, Chip Ganassi didn't dwindle away. They are now the main team today with the 42 and the 1 car. However, DEI and Chip Ganassi are still 2 different teams. So that is something to keep in mind moving forward. Now, as we watch as the cars rumble down to do their pace lap, we'll take a look at the starting lineup for the 2009 Daytona 500. Starting on pole is something brand new. Kurt Busch replaces David Gilliland as the second car at Robert Yates Racing, and he picks up Home Depot as sponsorship in the new number 28 Home Depot Ford. And to the outside of him is Matt Kenseth in the DeWalt Tools Ford. Starting third is Elliott Sadler in the Stanley Tools Dodge. Stanley Tools replaces Best Buy as the primary sponsor on the 19 Dodge. And to the outside of him is Robbie Gordon in the Jim Beam car. John Andretti starts fifth. He had an impressive Gatorade dual finish, finishing second in his race. Martin Truex starts alongside him in sixth. Tony Stewart starts seventh. Tony Stewart is in the new number 14 Office Depot Old Spice Chevrolet. Tony Stewart is now the boss man at Stewart-Haas Racing, and as I mentioned before, Old Spice and Office Depot are the new primary sponsors on that car. Brian Vickers will start 8th alongside Tony Stewart. Starting 9th is Juan Pablo Montoya. Juan Montoya signs a contract extension with Chip Ganassi Racing, and Target is going to serve as primary sponsor on the number 42 Target Dodge. To the outside of him is AJ Allmendinger. AJ moves over to a Dodge in the Valvoline car with number 44 as the number, as he is the second car for Richard Petty Motorsports, replacing Kyle Petty in the 45 car. Michael Waltrip will start 11th in the Toyota, and Jamie McMurray will start 12th in the Crown Royal Ford. Jerry Nader returns in the Amp Energy Chevrolet, and David Stremme in the 40 Fastenal Dodge. Starting 15th is Casey Mears as he returns to the National Guard Chevrolet, and Greg Biffle will start as his car number is 16th. Kyle Busch will start 17th, and Jeff Burton returns to the Reese's Chevrolet as the defending Daytona 500 champion in 18th. Reed Sorensen is going to start 19th. Reed Sorensen replaces Bobby Labonte as the primary driver in the 43 Dodge. Reed Sorensen also has a new sponsor with Charter. Charter is the new primary sponsor for Reed Sorensen. Jeremy Mayfield returns to the 88 car and will start 20th. Jimmy Johnson is going to start 21st in the Lowe's Chevrolet. And starting 22nd is a new rookie by the name of Brad Keselowski. Brad replaces Kurt Busch in the Blue Deuce this year. Jeff Gordon is going to start 23rd. And alongside him is Australia native Marcus Ambrose. Marcus is going to move over for a new team, JTG Daughtery Racing, with Little Debbie as sponsorship. Could Marcus make a statement in NASCAR? Casey Kane will start 25th in the McDonald's Dodge. So to the outside is Bobby Labonte in the 20 Interstate Batteries Toyota. Bobby moves back to Joe Gibbs Racing and with Interstate Batteries. He replaces Tony Stewart as he moves over to Stewart-Haas Racing. Starting 27th is JJ Gailey in the 96 car. Ask.com is the new sponsor on that machine. And Carl Edwards starts 28th. Aflac is the new sponsor on that car. Starting 29th is Denny Hamlin in the FedEx Toyota. And to the outside is Ryan Newman. Ryan Newman moves to the new Stewart-Haas Racing team with a new number, 39, which is Ryan Newman's old number way back in the day, and a new sponsor with US Army coming on board. David Gilliland starts 31st. David Gilliland replaces Ryan Newman in the number 12 car. And to the outside is David Reagan. David Reagan has been close 2 years in a row. Can he break the spell with a brand new team of Tommy Baldwin Racing? Starting 33rd is Car 33, Eric Almirola. Eric is another rookie this year with new sponsorship from Napa Auto Parts. To the outside is Scott Speed. Scott Speed replaces AJ Allmendinger in the second Red Bull machine with 82 as its number instead of 84. Clint Boyer is going to start 35th. Caterpillar is the new sponsor of that ride, as Bill Davis Racing shut down last year. And starting 36 is Paul Menard in the 15 Menards car. Paul Menard signs an extension with Dale Earnhardt Incorporated for a couple more seasons. Sam Hornish Jr. will start 37th, and to the outside of him is Scott Riggs in the UPS Ford. UPS becomes a new sponsor after both AAA and Nesquik pull off of the 6 car. Dale Earnhardt Jr. starts back in the field in 39th in the Budweiser 8 Chevrolet, and Regan Smith is going to start 40th. Regan Smith replaces Joe Nemechek in the Furniture Row Chevrolet. Regan Smith replaces Joe Nemechek. Nemechek is going to attempt races in his own team, which unfortunately did not qualify for this year's Daytona 500. And rounding out the field is David Runeman in the 00 Aaron's Toyota, Kevin Harvick starting 42nd in the 30 Pennzoil Chevrolet, and rounding out the field is Mike Bliss in the 71 car, joining a brand new team, TRG Motorsports. Kurt Busch leads Matt Kenseth, Elliott Sadler, Robbie Gordon, and John Jerry down to this cloudy race, the 2009 Daytona 500. Early in the going, cars were bunched up because they knew that time is going to be of the essence in this race. And because of close proximity, the first caution comes out and lots of cars were taken out, including Martin Truex, Michael Waltrip, John Andretti, Mike Bliss, and more. Everyone was okay after the crash. On the restart, it was Brian Vickers out front, as lots of lead changes in this race. Caution comes out again for a huge crash involving Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, and others. Even though there are a lot of hard hits, everyone was okay after this. Pit stops began as Tony Stewart brought him down the pit road. Tony Stewart has one of the stronger cars today. On the restart, Tony Stewart leads him down into turn number 1. Matt Kenseth, Robbie Gordon, Casey Mears, and Juan Montoya are our top 5. Juan Montoya goes into the lead with a couple of Dodge teammates. But Tony Stewart fights back with Kyle Busch behind him. Carl Edwards comes in the fray with help from Brad Keselowski as they go into the lead. Brad Keselowski, with the help of rookie competitor Eric Almirola, go into the lead. They knew that weather or rain can come in at any moment. But Carl Edwards was not going to give up. Carl Edwards dives underneath Brad Keselowski, and they go side by side for several laps around the 2.5 mile super speedway. But at the time, caution comes out for debris. Pit stops will go around and Brad Keselowski leads them out with Carl Edwards, Tony Stewart, and Eric Almirola, your top 4. But on the restart, several drivers did not pit because they were trying to wait out for the rain to come. Reed Sorensen's your leader, Scott Speed is in second. Dale Earnhardt Jr. makes his way up to the front. Dale Jr. is doing everything he can to stay out front before the rains come. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and Tony Stewart was able to pass by Dale Jr. for the lead, and Juan Montoya goes in the second, Casey Kane in third. But then the caution finally came out, and you know what it was for? It was for rain, and it poured. With Tony Stewart out in front, they brought the cars down the pit road. They couldn't do anything about it, they as in NASCAR. And Tony Stewart wins the 2009 Daytona 500 for his own team. Here are 3 things to know about 2010. There is concern about the old track surface at Daytona. There are rumors and speculation going around that the track will be repaved next year. It'll be interesting to see how the pavement will be affected in this race because of how cracked it is. And spoiler alert, NASCAR finally listened to Dale Earnhardt and spoilers are back on the car. Everything else is the same on the car, but there are no more wings on these cars. And the last big thing to note, Ray Everham's final season as an owner is this year. After that, his team, both the 9 and the 19 car, are going to come to a close. It'll be interesting to see where Kasey Kahne and Elliott Sadler will go next year. As you watch the cars roll off of pit road, we will take a look at the starting lineup here for the 2010 Daytona 500. Starting on the pole is Sam Hornish Jr. in the 77 Mobile 1 Dodge. To the outside of him is David Rudiman in the 00 Aaron's Toyota. Starting third is Brad Keselowski in the number 2 Miller Lite Dodge. And to the outside of him is Kyle Busch in the M&M's Toyota. Starting fifth is Elliott Sadler in the number 19 Stanley Dodge. As I mentioned before, this is Ray Abraham's final season as an owner, and so Elliott Sadler and Stanley Toole's future is up in the air at this point. Starting sixth is David Strimme in the Lysol Dodge. Lysol is the new full-time sponsor for David Strimme in the 40 Chip Ganassi car. Starting seventh is Kevin Harvick in the 30 Pennzoil Chevrolet, and to the outside is Juri Naidoo in the Amp Energy Mountain Dew Chevrolet. Carl Edwards starts ninth in the 99 Aflac Ford, and starting 10th is Joey Logano in the 22 Discount Tires Dodge. Joey becomes the second driver for Penske Racing as he replaces David Gilliland in the 12 car. Joey was initially going to run with Joe Gibbs Racing, but a conflict of interest occurred between Logano and Gibbs, so Logano left and he saw an opportunity at Penske. So he took it, and now he's a rookie in the 22 car in 2010. Clint Bowyer is going to start 11th in the 31 Caterpillar Chevrolet, and Casey Mears will start 12th in the National Guard 25 Chevrolet. Starting 13th is Kurt Busch in the Home Depot Ford for Robert Yates Racing, and Bob Labonte returns to the Interstate Batteries Toyota. Kasey Kahne is back in the McDonald's number 9 Dodge for one more year. His future is also up in the air. Alongside him is Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the new number 8 Budweiser Chevrolet. Scott Riggs is going to start 17th in the number 6 UPS Ford. To the outside of Riggs is teammate Matt Kenseth. Crown Royal serves as the new sponsor for Matt Kenseth in 2010, replacing DeWalt Tools. Jeff Gordon will start 19th in the DuPont Chevrolet, and to the outside of him is Jeff Burton in the Reese's Chevrolet. Starting 21st is the defending 2009 Daytona 500 champion Tony Stewart, and to the outside of him is Juan Pablo Montoya in the Target Dodge for Chip Ganassi. Scott Speed will start 23rd in the 82 Red Bull Toyota, and Martin Truex is start 24th. Martin Truex is the new driver for Michael Waltrip Racing. Napa is the new sponsor for Martin Truex Jr. with 56 as Martin's number. He replaces Michael Waltrip as Michael now becomes a full-time owner like Dale Earnhardt. Jamie McMurray moves over from Roush to the number 1 Bass Pro Shop Chevrolet for Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. He replaces Martin Truex. And to the outside of him is Marcus Ambrose and the Lil Debbie Toyota. Eric Almirola will start 27th. Cheerios is the new sponsor on that machine. And to the outside of him is unsponsored Mike Bliss. Mike is looking for potential sponsors, but nothing is set yet for that team. Bill Elliott will start 29th. Bill Elliott is running a part-time schedule for that machine. And to the outside of him is Greg Biffle in the 3M Ford. Reed Sorensen will start 31st in the Best Buy Dodge, and to the outside of him is David Gilliland in the Taco Bell Ford. David Gilliland moves over to Front Row Motorsports from Penske Racing. Robbie Gordon with the new sponsor of Monster Energy in that self-owner-driver combo, and to the outside of him is Jimmy Johnson. Starting 35th is Ryan Newman in the U.S. Army Chevrolet. To the outside of him is Denny Hamlin in the FedEx Toyota. Ryan Vickers in the Red Bull Toyota starts farther in the back, and alongside him is Jeremy Mayfield in the 88 Kellogg's Ford. And rounding out the field, we got AJ Allmendinger alongside Paul Menard in 40th. Max Papis is starting 41st. Max Papis moves over from the Rolex Series, and he's a Rookie of the Year candidate. And alongside him is Regan Smith in the 78 Furniture Row car. And rounding out the field is the second Front Row Motorsports car of Travis Quaffle. To start this one off, Sam Hornish leads David Rudiman, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, and Elliott Sadler down into turn number 1. It'll be interesting to see how bumpy the cars will react to the track. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jamie McMurray teammates bring the field down into turn number 1. And Jamie McMurray passes by Dale Jr. for the lead. The DEI cars are really strong today. And they will not give it up. The one car that comes in to break it up is Scott Riggs in the 6 Ford. And that's what he did. He broke up that party as Scott Riggs goes in the lead, and Daytona 500 winner David Stremme comes into play as well. Scott Riggs brings the field down the pit road for the first round of green flag pit stops. Multiple cars, including Jeremy Mayfield, got service during this round of pit stops. Because of this, the field spread out as Jamie McMurray and Dale Earnhardt Jr. lead the lead pack around the speedway. First caution comes out for debris on lap 79. On the restart, this is the first round of double file restarts as Clint Bowyer and David Rudiman lead him down into turn number 1. And through the cycle, Kurt Busch goes as the leader, but Carl Edwards fights him back. First big crash happens here as Greg Biffle, Scott Riggs, and numerous others get involved. Bill Elliott gets up in the air, but he's okay. Another round of cycle of pit stops happens here. On the restart, it is Kurt Busch, Carl Edwards, Reed Sorensen are your top 3. Then it's rookie Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson, and Clint Bowyer, your top 6. David Rudiman and David Stremme move up in front as they battle side by side for the lead. Another round of green flag pit stops as half the field comes in at once as they are bunched together coming down pit road. Fortunately, no serious accidents happen on pit road and everyone has a pretty successful pit stop. Caution comes out again for debris on the back straightaway. On the restart is David Stremme, David Rudiman again. Another caution comes out as a semi-big crash happens on the back straightaway involving Robbie Gordon, Brett Keselowski, Casey Mears, and Juan Montoya. On the restart, David Stremme was able to pull out a big lead as Jeff Gordon moves into the picture to possibly steal a win away. But on the same lap, caution comes out again as Robbie Gordon moves too far high up and he takes himself and Montoya out of the race. Montoya ends up going into the garage after this crash. With 6 laps to go, Jeff Gordon does take the lead away, but he still has 6 laps to defend everyone else. With 3 laps to go, David Stremme gets a big run down into turn number 3, and he tries to pass Jeff Gordon down to the inside, with Clint Bowyer right behind him. Oh, and there's a crash. And in turn number 3, that is AJ Allmendinger around Elliott Sadler. Lots and lots of cars into the wall. Lots of cars spinning, lots of cars involved. One car up and over, and that is Jeremy Mayfield in the 88 Kellogg's Ford. Lots of cars were taken out of this, and the red flag was pulled out because of this crash. And now we're going to go live these final 2 laps to decide who will win the 2010 Daytona 500. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have 2 laps to decide the winner of the 2010 Daytona 500. Jeff Gordon is your leader, but can he pull it off and can he win another Daytona 500? Or will David Stremme pull a spoiler again and will he win the Daytona 500? Here we go. Flagman has the green in the air and we are racing 2 laps to go here at Daytona. Clint Bowyer gets all over Jeff Gordon's bumper as Tony Stewart gets on the back of David Stremme's bumper. Clint Bowyer looking to the inside of Jeff Gordon now. Jeff Gordon moving high. He touches David Stremme. They bump into turn number 1 as Clint Bowyer dives underneath Jeff Gordon and down into turn number 1. 3 wide as Kurt Busch moves into the middle but farther back in the field. Scott Riggs to the inside, Jeremy Nadeau to the outside of him. 3 wide down into turn number 2 now. Carl Edwards moves to the inside. Can Carl Edwards give Jeff Gordon a big push? As they are 3 by 3 by 3 now down the back straightaway. Rudiman all over the back of Clint Bowyer down into turn number 3. David Stremme tries clearing Jeff Gordon, but he can't do it as they are bumping down into turn number 3 through 3 into turn number 4. Jerry Nadeau giving Tony Stewart a well of a push. That should be an exchange into David Stremme. Can he clear in front of Jeff Gordon? Yes, he does. As they are still 3x3x3 with 1 lap to go. David Rudiman down the inside now. David Rudiman gets a whale of a push from, I believe that is Scott Riggs on the inside. As they are side by side as we're on board with David Stremme. Stremme is not giving up on that high side. That high side is strong as they are bumping and banging. If one car makes a false move, everyone is done. David Rudiman getting a whale of a push from Scott Riggs, who is getting a push from Eric Almirola. Down the back straightaway, everyone is 3 wide. And there is no room to breathe whatsoever. David Stremme getting the run up the high side with help from Tony Stewart. Lots of bumping and banging down into turn number 3 and 4. Oh, and there's a wreck behind. Bunch of cars getting involved as they are side by side right to the line. There's a hard crash behind, and here they come, checkered flag waving. It's gonna be Stremme. David Stremme wins his 2nd Daytona 500. What an amazing comeback on the outside by David Stremme in the Lysol dye. We'll get the replays for you and we'll show you what happened behind the field. Tony Stewart in the catch fence. Oh my gosh. Boy, good thing that car did not erupt in flames. That would have been huge. Tony Stewart barrel rolls a couple more times, but we have a lot of good drivers in that wreck. Kyle Busch involved, Kevin Harvick, look again. Tony Stewart rides the wall and rides, and I'm really surprised that car did not catch the catch fence and explode. The car does a couple more barrel rolls. Here you see Jeff Gordon involved, Scott Riggs was involved, I believe I saw Jerry Nadeau involved. Yep, there he is in the middle. Bobby Labonte wrecked. Boy, that was a big crash. We did get word that Tony Stewart did climb out of the car under his own power, but there goes one of our cameras, so you can't say the same thing about that. So here's the finish in slow motion. David Stremme and that is Clint Bowyer side by side that much. NASCAR is telling us that David Stremme won by 4 1/1000ths of a second. Talk about close proximity right there. What an awesome win by David Stremme, for Chip Ganassi, and for Dodge as well. Definitely a good finish. Definitely not the wreck that we wanted, but oh well, at least all the drivers are okay, not the cars. So thank you guys for watching part 6. Thank you guys for watching the whole entire series so far. And thank you so much for all the support. It means so much that my ideas are being listened to. So unfortunately part 7 is not going to come out for a while. I'm going to make a bunch of more shorter videos. A few more shorts and a few more ideas that have been cramming in my head. And I'm also planning to do the 2016 Sprint Summer Showdown. I want to return that back. So guys, thank you so much again for all the support. If there's anything wrong in this video, please don't be hesitant to shout it out at me, push all caps locks and add 5, 6, even 20 exclamation marks so I can hear it. That totally makes sense. So as David Stremme does the donuts here, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys next time.